I visited 10 countries this year, and a few of them really surprised me. As 2025 comes to an end, I wanted to take a moment to reflect on those travels. Everything I'm about to share is based purely on my own experience and travel style. For each place, I will briefly share how it felt, one special moment, and whether I would go back. Let's start with Bulgaria. Bulgaria was probably the biggest surprise for me this year. I visited not only Sofia, but also Plovdiv. It felt underrated, relaxed, and full of character. It felt very authentic, in a way that's becoming harder to find. A special moment would be having my morning coffee sitting in the square across from the Ivan Vazov National Theatre. That's in Sofia. And then enjoying a glass of wine inside the old Roman stadium in Plovdiv. Simple moments, but very memorable. Would I go back? Absolutely yes. I enjoyed it so much that I already went back a second time within the same year. And I definitely want to explore more of the country, especially the nature and the cities on the Black Sea. Alright, Mexico. Technically, this trip happened at the very end of 2024, but it naturally belongs in this reflection. I spent a week in Puerto Vallarta just before entering 2025. It felt like a beach vacation town, but also a bit isolated, probably because of the distance from Europe. The town felt like it had a nice split between locals and tourists, with most visitors coming from the US and Canada, escaping winter. A special moment was waking up to the sound of the ocean from my modest hotel right by the water, and taking long walks along the beachfront path. Would I go back? Probably not. From Europe, there are many closer destinations that offer better experience for me. But I understand why it works so well for Americans. That said, I would like to go back and explore other parts of Mexico. Alright, so Ireland. A close friend of mine lives in Ireland, so I visit every now and then. It felt very positive overall, friendly, social, and welcoming. A special moment would be spending quality time with my friend, especially our pub meal in a cozy place together. And also that very Irish moment when the wind was so strong, my umbrella almost flew away. Would I go back? Absolutely yes. I would love to return and finally explore more of Ireland beyond Dublin. But I would never live there because of the weather, basically. Canada. I've been to Toronto several times now, across different seasons. I'm currently filming here. At this point, it genuinely feels like home to me. A special moment would be the cozy atmosphere of Blue Mountain Village. I could easily spend an entire December there without getting bored. I also noticed that I started to enjoy smaller places. Would I go back or would I come back here? Yeah, absolutely yes, and I will. I would also like to explore Calgary in future and go back to Vancouver again, which is pretty much one of my favorite cities in the world. The Netherlands, which is my home base. I live near Eindhoven. Of course, I spent time in cities like Amsterdam, Maastricht, Utrecht, Den Bosch, and Venlo, just to name a few. How it feels completely at home, a strong sense of safety, comfort, and knowing how everything works. A special moment this year was my mom's visit, showing her different cities and villages, and even working together in the garden. Those simple moments really stood out. Would I go back? Well, this question doesn't really apply here, but yes, I'm very happy continuing my life in the Netherlands. Next up, Austria. I visited Vienna for a friend's 40th birthday. It was my second time there. It felt calm, elegant, and very structured. A special moment would be sitting in a traditional coffee house, watching people quietly read or chat. Felt very cozy. That calm routine really defines Vienna for me. Would I go back? Yes, I would, especially to explore other cities. It's great for atmosphere and quality of life, but less so for spontaneity. Hungary. I took the train from Vienna and spent a few days in Budapest. It was my first time visiting. How it felt, I would say beautiful architecture and noticeably more affordable than Vienna. A special moment was visiting one of the thermal bathhouses. Would I go back? Absolutely yes, and I will. Alright, next up, Turkey. I visited Cappadocia with my mother, which made this trip especially meaningful. Technically, this was my second time as I went there when I was like 10 years old. How it felt, I would say magical. It's a bucket list destination for many people, and I completely understand why. A special moment was certainly waking up early to watch the hot air balloons rise over the landscape. Would I go back? Yes, definitely. I would love to return with friends or with someone special. Next up, Spain. Well, I go back to Spain every year. This year I spent 2 weeks there at the end of summer. How it felt? Well, very much like home. As a Spanish citizen, that feeling never really goes away. A special moment. It was my first time in Alicante, and the city beach right in the center made it feel really special. Would I go back? Of course, I return every year, and I will most likely move back to Spain for early retirement. Next up, Germany. Well, I live close to the German border, so I often visit for day trips or weekends. This year, I also took my mother to Cologne. How it felt, I would say neutral. I don't feel a strong emotional connection whatsoever, and I struggle with the customer service there. A special moment, though, was Hemmelberg, which really stood out. The town itself was charming, and attending a local wine festival there was a really nice experience. Would I go back? Yes, because of proximity, but I would never live in Germany. It's just not for me. Visiting, I enjoy, especially small towns. And just before I wrap up, I realized I hadn't mentioned Belgium. So technically, that makes it 11 countries this year. I spent a weekend in Brussels, and because I live close to the border, Belgium is often an easy day trip or a weekend trip for me. It's always a nice experience. Alright, so looking back, 2025 reminded me how much familiarity matters, but also how powerful a real surprise can be. Some places feel like home, others challenge your expectations, and both have their place. I am genuinely grateful to have experienced 10 countries this year while still working a full-time corporate job. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.